All right. We did it, America. We're back.
I'm over here now.
I'm over here now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the gallery. All 7 of you.
I'm over here.
And that's overestimating it. I like to average up to the next 3.
Friends, I'm over here now.
But we're doing it. Okay.
Right, listen. I throw a
Curveball, and you just strike out. You start to cry, and your mom is asking for you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's The RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Give it up for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, in the gallery. We're so excited. This week is a very special Mega Godzilla episode of Season 3, Episode 3 of the RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE. Because first, we are doing our first ever couples edition of your favorite segment of mine, Say Hi to Your Mom For Me, where Papa Russ checks in with his comic friends who have found themselves at one point or another on lockdown with their parents during the pandemic. It has been an amazing segment before, but tonight is our first ever couples edition with 2 of my absolute favorite comics to work with and to watch work. That's Stewart Fullerton and Drew Drevyanko, ladies and gentlemen, are going to join us for our 5-question questionnaire on Say Hi to Your Mom For Me. I'm so excited. And then, as promised, on Rustle Around the Interwebs special edition, we are having a comedian, podcast, movies, television, animation special edition with my old cohort from the Comedy Store and Comedy Juice at the Improv and Gotham, New York. He is now playing young Vince McMahon on NBC's Young Rock and is the host of one of my favorite podcasts of all time, About Last Night. Mr. Adam Ray is going to be here for part 1 of our pre-recorded interview. I'm going to play an awesome clip from his album Read the Room, and then I'm going to play part 1, and you guys are going to be a part of it. I'm so excited. We're going to talk to him about Young Rock, working with Melissa McCarthy and Paul Feig on Ghostbusters. It's going to be amazing. So give it up for Season 3, Episode 3 of the RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Go Birds. All right, everybody. Welcome back. It is time for your favorite segment of mine on Season 3, Episode 3 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's The RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. It's time for QUARAN-BITS, where I, Papa Russ, update you about how my life has been going in our quarantine, pandemic, lockdown, Russ as a homeschool, stay-at-home dad teacher situation that we've all found ourselves in and is hopefully almost over. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight I would like to talk to you about my mother. Now, I love my mother. We all love our mother. But my mother has been texting me constantly about strangers and their illnesses, okay? And it's got to stop. The madness needs to stop. Now, again, I love my mother. We all do. But even before the pandemic, everybody, my mother was essentially CNN for anybody who is dead, sick, or dying, okay, at all times, all right? She was 24 hours, 7 days a week, the most trusted name in dying news. My mother, Iris Gutin, okay? Even at family events, I would turn to other relatives and say, hey, buddy, if you like hearing about who's dead in the midst of dying, what their specific ailments, treatment plans, and other tragic situations surrounding them that they're dealing with are, well, you've come to the right Seder, buddy. You've come to the right family event. You've come to the right sukkah party, pal. Okay, because we've got that in droves, my friends. Okay, and I have to say that it used to be isolated to just sort of blood relatives and sort of family members, but during the pandemic, it has also spun off into strangers and acquaintances too, okay? And it's too much for me, okay? I don't need to know this shit, all right? I don't need to know upsetting shit. If you're my wife or a close friend of mine, you know that I have a degree in musical theater. I am the walking equivalent of jazz hands, and I am too sensitive for life, okay? So I am on a need-to-know basis of upsetting shit. Unless it directly affects me, do not tell Russell, okay? That's the rule. But this is what I have been doing, because I have to tell you, when my mother used to do this, it used to get such a reaction out of me. It used to really wind me up. Like, why do I need to know this shit, you know? Okay? But I feel like during the pandemic, we have all gotten a chance to be with ourselves and figure out who our best selves are and to be our best selves more. So I've been trying to evolve like Gwyneth Paltrow, you know, during the pandemic. And I've been trying to control my reactions. So now, whenever my mother texts me and she says, Russell, we are going to the Wegmans. My mother says, of course, out loud, whenever she's texting me. I don't know if your parents do this. Russell, we are going to the Wegmans. And then she got an iWatch, everybody, by the way, with voice command too. She's like the Jewish Dick Tracy. She's like, Russell, we are going to the Wegmans. Do you need anything? And I will text back, okay, Mom, thanks for asking. Sure, we are running low on paper towels. And she'll text back, my nail technician's daughter's cousin's half-sister's cyst was benign, but they are doing another biopsy, so I am baking them a Jewish apple cake. So then, instead of getting upset, instead of slamming my hand down on the snack table and saying, why do I need to know this shit, Iris? I just text back, okay, but what about the paper towels? And then I go on living my life, and I don't get upset, and I evolve, you know? I evolve, and I become a better person. I've been listening to Jeff Bridges' sleep tapes and reading all of Gwyneth Paltrow's blog posts, so I feel like I'm doing a great job. So give it up for me, Papa Russ, for evolving, and for season 3, episode 3 of QUARAN-BITS on Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's The RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Go Birds, and stop texting me, Mom. All right. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. I am amped because it is time here on season 3, episode 3 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts for another edition of the greatest segment that ever segmented. It's time for Say Hi to Your Mom For Me, where I, Papa Russ, check in with my comic comedian friends who have found themselves at one point or another on lockdown with their parents during the pandemic. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have our first ever couples edition with 2 of my favorite comics to work with and to watch work in the old world. You had seen them at New York Comedy Club, Philly Comedy Club, and Atlantic City Comedy Club, the Burbank Comedy Festival. My buddy Drew in this segment once won the epic roast battle at the Comedy Store that we've talked about on the show a bunch of times, okay? And Stewart has been seen on Maddie Smith's podcast. I believe it's That Time of the Week, is it called? If I'm not mistaken. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for our first ever couples edition of Say Hi to Your Mom For Me, Stewart Fullerton and Drew Drevyanko, ladies and gentlemen.
Go Birds!
Go Birds, that's right. You know your audience.
I taught her well.
I learned it from him.
That's right. You got to pander to the host at all times.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, and Dara, my wife, can tell you the same, that I love hashtag Drewert. Whenever I work with them, I feel like I am going out to dinner or having coffee and cake with very good friends after high holiday services at the synagogue. They just are absolutely tremendous comics and tremendous performers. And offstage, we just have the best time. And it turns out at different points during the pandemic that they as a couple have found themselves either together or solo on lockdown with their parents. Is this true, Drewert?
It's so true. So first of all, we're not a regular comedy couple. We're a cool comedy couple.
That's right. No. I didn't put them in the other comedy couple. There's certain ones you want to steer clear of, but you're one of the best.
Exactly. So so it was a whole situation. So we live in a small Brooklyn apartment. We were both working from home. In New York, feel free to cut me off whenever, by the way. In New York, we really shut down in last March. Like, it was not a joke. Like, we fully shut down. And, the pandemic lasted a little too long, but at that point we were like serious,
Yeah.
We were miserable. We were inside for 3 months. There was not Zoom shows even happening then. There was nothing happening then. And long story short, I'm from Arkansas and I wanted to go party in Arkansas.
Right. Who doesn't? No rules in Arkansas.
That's the truth. There's
Razorbacks don't give a fuck, man.
Razorbacks do not give a fuck. Like they don't give a fuck. And at least you have a car. We don't have to walk our laundry. I mean, it was just so hard to live in New York for no reason. So I really wanted to go home. I really wanted Drew to come with me, but something that we will get into is that my mom lives in a very small condo with lots of Wi-Fi issues, and Drew works in IT, so we kind of quarantined separately for a little bit, which apparently people thought we broke up, which is hilarious.
Oh, Jesus, no!
It was, we had planned, it was like, okay, let's finally get out of New York. Like, maybe let's go to Arkansas. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, we can stay with my mom. And I was like, you know what? I actually think I'm going to stay in New York. But, you.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't even know they had the internet in Arkansas. This is great.
I'm not positive they do.
Okay, yeah, cannot confirm.
I don't think they do.
So, yeah, I actually ended up staying for a few months in New York while she was in Arkansas. And then after a while, I got kind of lonely. So then, I went back to the great city of Philadelphia.
That's right.
Where my family is from. And I spent some time there while Stuart was in Arkansas. And it was tough. I mean, it was the longest we've ever been apart.
Yeah. Wow. People were definitely judging us. They were like, why aren't you guys doing it together? And I'm like, we were still talking all the time. We're still texting and talking all the time. It's just that I'm like, in Arkansas,
No, well, but people don't know. They don't know the inner workings, and that's that's for you guys. And I love that because it shows the strength of your comedy couple relationship. Because as we know, not all comedy couples are created equal, and the foundation usually is shaky, has cracks in it, and would not pass inspection. So. Me and Dara have seen some of that actually crumble during a show and at the Comedy Store. And again, I'll never forget it, and I'm grateful for seeing it. But as the showrunner, me, it's like, I don't need this in my life.
No, I don't want to hear either side of the story.
That's right. I found parking. This night was going so well. Right. So now listen, I'm glad you guys gave us a little bit of setting the table for us and setting the scene and the circumstance. Because here on Say Hi to Your Mom For Me, what we've done, me and my genius wife Dara, we have constructed this little questionnaire that I sent you guys. It's kind of like James Lipton used to end with on Actor Studio. That's what they call your POPPA RUS, the James Lipton of comedy. Yeah. Always looks like he's mid-heart attack. God bless him. Very, very sweaty. And so we've prepared the 5-question questionnaire, and you're going to answer the same questions that other guests that we've had on the show before. Your buddies, Ben DeMarco, Chris Scopo, Usama Siddiqui, they've all done this solo, but we've never had a couple. So you guys are going to chime in. I'm sure you guys already had the questionnaire. So like I said, we talked a little bit before this. So I'm so excited. Are you guys ready to play? Say hi to your mom.
Already.
All right. Ding, 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 ding. If we had production, there would be all kinds of effects and the thing from Press Your Luck, no whammies. Okay. So the first question tonight on our couples edition of Say Hi to Your Mom for Me with Stewart Fullerton and Drew Drevyanko on the RUS GUTIN Experience, here we go, is how, where, and with whom were you quarantined? Now, you guys kind of answered this, but set this up a little bit again.
So I was okay, mine's a whole situation. My mother lives in a condo in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh boy.
She's single. She's been single for a while. You know how people dread their parents dating someone else? It is my one dream that she finds someone to keep her in control and keep her normal.
Right.
But that has not happened. So I was quarantining in a small condo in Little Rock, Arkansas with my mother.
Single, ready to mingle. That's right.
Angle.
Hi now. Hi now. Now, where did you end up, Drew?
So I was in New York for a little solo, and then I went back to Philly for a while, and it was fun because my parents they're honestly, I don't think I have enough damage to be a comic.
Right.
My parents love me with all of their heart.
They're the nicest people
Yeah.
ever.
You guys are way too supportive. I would like
Literally,
a little bit of
yeah,
negativity around here.
I mean,
They're so supportive. It's insane. Like they're the nicest people ever.
So when I showed up, like my dad is just like your typical blue collar Eagles fan. Like we're throwing the football within like 5 minutes.
Right. My
So
boy is
I was
home.
like, yeah, and I was like, he's McNabb, I'm T.O. We're launching it. I was like, yeah, this is great. And it questioned, it's like, why do we put ourselves through it? In New York, of course, there's a billion reasons why New York is great.
Right.
But it was so nice because we did stick it out for the first 3-4 months, just not even leaving our apartment in New York. So to just go out and see grass. And to go out
Wow.
and
To be able to drive to the grocery store,
yeah,
to be
it
able
was-
to do your laundry, like
Do
oh my
laundry.
God.
Yeah, no, that's a huge.
Yeah, so we were in separate parts of the country, but which was I think we handled it fine. I mean, I think she cheated on me once or twice, but honestly, it's
Yeah.
things. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Well, there's so many people coming in.
What
And
he doesn't know won't hurt
Yeah,
him.
Right,
guys.
right.
now in Arkansas, is it called Tander?
It's called Tander.
Tander.
It's funny.
Wait,
It's funny.
Tell
So
him.
this is a quick note on that. We were.
Yeah.
So I actually did end up in Arkansas for about a week briefly over the
Oh,
summer.
boy.
He came. You came twice to visit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's what she
And
said.
yeah, exactly. And her friends were on Tinder, and I was kind of just like, as a taken man, happily,
Right.
I was like, hey, let me see what the pickings are like
He was
here.
like, let me see
Let's
our
peruse. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, let
yeah.
me see the guys in Arkansas. I'd love to see your vote.
Yeah, window shopping.
She's like, Drew, it's really bad. It's kind of embarrassing. And I was like, come on. I was like, just let me see the guys here. And I mean,
on
Russ,
Hinge.
on Hinge, which is supposed to be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know
but
either, Russ. You don't know either, Zara. He doesn't know either. But
Hinge
on
is supposed to
Hinge,
be classy, right?
it's supposed to be classier, and they ask you questions, and then you have to
Oh.
answer. And so one of the questions you can say.
It was a fun fact about you. This is the guy's top line on his Hinge
Wow.
profile.
Okay.
Fact in Little Rock, Arkansas. And his fun fact was, and he's like a decent looking guy, like happy picture. Fun fact, I've never been kayaking. And it's
Yeah.
like, so you thought the funnest thing about you was that you've
Never
never
been-
been
Yeah, no,
kayaking.
that's actually the least fun detail about anyone.
What?
And it
Like,
was-
You've been
was
by
not
yourself
a-
on a river? How exciting. Fucking Huck Finn over here.
And it was
it
like,
was not a joke either.
yeah.
And that's what people always ask me, is there comedy in Arkansas? I'm like, yeah, they don't know it, but it
Yeah,
is
no,
there.
yeah. It's in the eye of the beholder. And also, I would
Right.
imagine that you have to own at least 2 ATVs to be on Arkansas Tinder or
Yeah.
You have to have the ATVs
You-
and the ducks.
all
Yeah.
the profile pictures are just
Yeah, the ducks, like
The ducks and the deer that you shot. Also.
That's right. Yeah, lots of dead ducks. So many dead ducks. All right. So number 2, this is where the rubber really meets the road because this is comedian to comedian. So, as comics, while on lockdown with your parents, how many alternate careers were suggested to you while at home?
So I have a good one. Mine is absolutely insane. So my mom always is suggesting that I move home, that I work at she always suggests that I work at Tropical Smoothie. And it's like,
What?
I'm working in finance. Like that's work. Or she suggests I work at a little boutique in Arkansas or something.
Yeah. Why do you have to crush ice? I don't understand.
Exactly. My grandparents, this is a whole thing, Russ. We're not even getting into it. My grandparents own a failing horseshoe business.
Oh. Like in Lord of the Rings when they forged the sword,
Literally, my grandpa is a full blacksmith, and they own
What?
a horseshoe business. And
Oh my God.
I was
You even have a very ostentatious belt buckle. That doesn't track. That's amazing.
I know. Actually, I need one of those belt buckles, but it's been failing for a while. All this stuff. My mom suggested during the quarantine that I moved to Shreveport, Louisiana, and work at the horseshoe business.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. Oh, how bad does she think I'm doing?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Holy fuck.
I work in, I do comedy and stuff, but I have a day job in finance.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you have and I know this about you. You both have redeemable skills to society.
Right.
Lockdown happened, I was like, honey, we are screwed. Man, you guys are actually usable humans. That's so wow, extra. It stings extra. Lemon juice in the
horseshoe.
Lord, I love it. Well, no, and Ben said that he got suggested that he go down to the UPS and get a job.
Oh, that's
Fucking
good.
king of
I can see him at that.
King of Oregon Queens. Okay, so here we go. Now, when you are home, what food does your mommy or daddy make for you when you're feeling sadsy-wadsy?
I will plug my mother's cooking any day of the week. Like I said, they love me beyond. So I
love
come
that.
home. We don't even make dinner plans because when we show up at
Drew
my
doesn't
parents'
lift a
house,
finger.
there's just tables full of food. I'm just finger food. My mom's also from the South, so pimento cheese, which got kind of north, and it's pimento cheese. There's fried chicken. There's potato salad. Yeah, little salads. Wings. And there are sometimes if I'm there by myself, I don't even go out to eat for a week just because I'm literally just standing with the fridge door open all day.
Yeah, the options are limitless. It's like your own homemade Wawa right in front of you.
Well, I and you know that I do always make at least one Wawa trip a day just for the fun of it.
I'm not even at my parents' house as much as I used to be, especially when the kids were a little bit younger and then during the lockdown. But naturally, when I walk into my parents' house, I go to the fridge and I start pulling out, left salmon, lunch meats, whatever the juiciest things I can find, because I know if it's made of fish, I'm going to find it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I do the same thing. I say, hey, how you doing? Good to be here. And then I go right for the fridge.
Yeah, and my mom and I have the same allergies, and I know they go to Wegmans to get the fancy snacks.
Oh yeah,
Wegmans.
My parents go to Wegmans too.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing. I'm not paying that much for snacks, but I'll fucking eat theirs. You bet your ass. All right, we're on to question number 4. You guys are crushing it. Give it up for Stewart Fullerton and Drew Drevyanko on Say Hi to Your Mom for Me Couples Edition. You guys are being amazing as I expected. Now, on a scale from 1 to 10, how strange is it to have relations with yourself or others in your childhood bedroom?
Okay, Russ, we have a whole segment on this.
Oh, here we go. That's right. That's what you're getting paid the big bucks for.
Okay, so my mom is Southern Bible Belt, religious, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first brought Drew home to Arkansas, like years ago, we were not allowed to sleep in the same room. Not allowed. Ever allowed. Absolutely not.
Drew, you're going to stay at the Quality Inn on
Right.
Route
Oh.
75.
No, well,
That would have been better. than
that would have
this.
been better. The whole thing with my mom, like, she refuses to let us stay in the same bedroom, which is like, okay, fine, I get it. But like, also you live in a condo, like there's only 2 rooms.
Right.
And Drew's 6'7", like he actually can't
True.
sleep on the couch.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, Drew is very, you can't tell, by the show, but Drew is very tall. Where are you going to put him in a condo? I'm curious.
I don't know.
Exact, I don't even, yeah, he can
I
barely
look at the blueprint before I even go
Yeah.
out. There's nowhere I can.
Nope. Geometry.
No.
So actually for us, sleeping in the same bedroom as my mom's house has been a battle we've been fighting for years and years and years.
Wow.
Like, we live together in New York. She has stayed with us in New York.
Where
But
you
we
stay in
can't-
the same bedroom.
Right.
Right.
But
But
But you know what? You got to
Under
respect
her-
that. Stewart's house, Stewart's rules. She respected your womanhood.
exactly. But then when I'm at her house, it's her rules. All this whole
Wow.
thing.
It's
And it-
Jesus' rules, Stewart.
And we fought it for years. So you'll love this story. So like, first of all, it's like my main issue with my mom. It's like, I don't really, why do you care if we sleep in the same bed together? Like, it's not like we're going to start fucking and then we're looking at my Wicked poster. from
Right,
high school.
right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, no, but you guys were defying gravity if you.
Defying gravity. And then we,
Ding.
and then we joked that like at my house, we're like, fucking in my childhood room and there's like chorus line posters. And then
Right.
at Drew's house, it's Weezer posters.
right. Either way, both aphrodisiacs,
yeah, right.
No, that
And,
would be
and
good.
Russ, I can't come unless I'm looking at a Weezer poster.
No, nothing gets the ladies going like Weezer's Pinkerton.
Right,
One of my favorite albums. Not a good relationship
I'd
album.
still say it's the best album of all time.
It is one of the best albums of all time. We can talk about that for hours.
That's another podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in the other room, you guys.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. We're not going to circle jerk Weezer right now. We will schedule a separate time.
Okay.
But so Russ, this has been a battle with my mom for like years because it's like we've been in a long-term relationship. It's not like we're like having, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's not like we're like coming home like we have to have
No,
sex in
yeah,
my childhood
it's-
bedroom. It's like we're adults. Like we go to bed. Like we wake
Yeah,
up.
it's not like your mom's Tinder turnstile condo over here.
Exactly. And she always makes this big deal. Okay, so you're gonna love this story. So a few years ago, this was like 2 years ago, and my best friend in the world had a wedding in Arkansas. So Drew, of course, came. We went to the wedding, and of course, we get really drunk at the wedding.
Right.
And we go back home to my mom's house, and I'm like, fuck my mom and her rules. I'm like, Drew, I'm coming in the bed with you tonight. Like, I'm coming in the room, no matter what she says.
And even I was like, I was like, just go on the couch. Like, I don't want to start a thing.
I don't want to start a thing, but I'm drunk. So I'm like, I'm sleeping in the bed. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to sleep on the couch.
Stewart's gonna do what
I
Stewart
was like, I'm
wants
going
to
to just do it. So I go in the room, and like, of course, I get in bed, blah, blah, blah. My mom bangs open the door, grabs me by my ankles,
Oh.
screaming, Russ, pulling me out of the bed. I turn over to get some support from Drew. He's pretending to be asleep.
I'm pretending.
He's pretending to be
No,
asleep.
Drew, that's when a bear attacks your campsite. You're supposed to pretend to be dead.
Right? You got to play dead. You got to play dead.
I'm like, Drew, help me. And he's literally like,
And I know exactly what's happening. I know.
she drugged me out by my ankle.
Not an exaggeration.
Literally drugged me out by my ankles. Like, I was literally like fully being dragged out. It was insane. Unfortunately, Russ, I got drunk the next night, tried to do the whole thing again, was re-drug out by 2 nights in a row, drug out of the bed by my ankle.
No, but Stewart, listen, your resolve is what is the most impressive part of the story. Because even after you got revenanted by your mother and fucking I can't believe you went full Like, I'm gonna do what I saw on Man vs. Wild. You know, like you did survival tips, but the next night, no problem.
Back again.
Let's go to Stewart.
Yeah, she's like, she knew her mom wouldn't think that she was going to go for 2, but she did.
I know, like I was, yeah. Oh, it was so crazy.
Stewart, honestly, that is one of the best, and I could just picture it in my head. Just the physical, like, we have to recreate that somehow. I want Meryl.
Dr. Marks could never do the physical comedy that happened.
No. And you know what? Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, I think, should also play you guys in the movie of that.
Yes.
I'm glad
That's
you guys like my post.
That's when I looked over and Drew was faking asleep. I almost punched him in the fucking. I was like,
Yeah, no, you're lucky to be alive, bro.
I mean, like you said, I felt there was an attack happening, and sometimes you're just going to play dead, and you know what?
Dead.
No, some people have fight or flight. You had play dead.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, holy shit. We are rounding out the final leg of this, and you guys have delivered the goods so far on Say Hi to Your Mom For Me Couples Edition, first ever Couples Edition with Stewart Fullerton and Drew Drevyanko on the RUS GUTIN Experience. So we are down to our last question of the questionnaire, and Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, I still cannot picture you being dragged out by your ankles.
And also imagine, like, this is her childhood bed, like my knees like meet the end of the bed, so
right,
they're hanging
Yeah,
off the
tiny.
bed by at least 2 feet. My legs are hanging off this bed.
Oh, you should be nominated for a SAG award because it takes a lot of physical dedication to pretend you are asleep. That's a lot of Drew to pretend you're asleep. So like I said, we are down to our final question on our couples edition of Say Hi to Your Mom For Me. And this is one of my favorites. What, Drewart, if any, dark family secrets or incidents have been revealed to you by your parents during this time together?
We both have good ones for this.
Yes.
I'll go first. This it was actually I was with my mom, and we were just kind of talking about like old family friends and stuff, like people who used to come around who we hadn't seen in years. And this woman was an old family friend. Like, really, she was a big part of my childhood. I was friends with her kids and stuff. And she was all around all the time when we were younger. And my mom had never told me this. And we were talking about this woman and this. And she goes, well, you know about her first husband, right? And I was like, no, which I knew this wasn't going in a great place.
Uh-oh.
It's like, oh, he was
right. Yeah,
Jeopardy.
right.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, you know her first husband? I was like, no. She's like, I never told you. I was like, no. She's like, he was a bank robber. And she was like his assist, like his
what?
It was like his Jane, and he was Dick. And it was like, they were like a Dick and Jane, and they like did time and stuff. And I was like, so you let this woman like make me hot dogs, and she's like held a gun to someone's head? I was like, are you insane?
No. Can you call DIFUS now? I mean, how old are you? What's the statute of limitations?
Right. And I was like, but you would have never guessed. Like, she was the sweetest woman in the world. And I was like, she's told someone, like, give me the fucking money now. But
Yeah,
she's like,
wow. Well, you don't know.
that.
Maybe they played it quiet. We don't know. I mean, we don't know how they pulled it off.
That's
you
true.
know?
That's true. I didn't know. I don't know how they worked. Yeah.
No, you guys will love this. I want to hear your answers, Stuart. You'll love this. I grew up with a kid who went to jail for robbing the same bank 3 times. Now, the first time, very cool, very impressive, got away with it. Second time, wow, this guy's a legend. But third time, maybe choose a different commerce bank, you know, like,
Right,
Yeah, maybe.
you know, like you go back to the well too many times. So it was like, you know, and I knew the getaway driver, you know, and it was like, and he was like, yeah, the third time I was like, I don't know about this. He was like an actor with the sequel, like, I don't know. Feels like the story has kind of, you know, resolved itself.
The bank teller is like, oh, Brian's here again.
Yeah. Oh, there's Brian. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah, so I'm
Like,
just,
we're getting it, we're
They're like,
getting
we
it.
got it. We're on. Yeah, we're good. Brian. Yeah, okay.
third time's the charm, as in you'll go to jail for 6 or 10. Okay, so no. So Stewart, please tell me, like I said, what, if any, dark family secrets or incidents have been revealed to you by your parents during this time?
Oh, this one is wild, and I'm gonna. Okay, I already told you about the horseshoe situation. So
Yeah,
you
wow.
kind of have an
We're
insight.
learning a lot.
Yeah, you kind of have an insight. I'm really from. I try to act all cosmopolitan and cool. I am full white trash, like cowboy farmer,
Right.
like, full cowboys, like actual cowboys. is the thing. So my grandpa is sort of what you would call a Renaissance man. He was actually famous in like the rodeo circuit. He married my
Wow.
grandma very young. It's very clear to us that he's kind of a dick, and he just does what he does. Like he's just sort of like, he's his own. That's
Right.
we get who it is. We get what it is. He's
Yeah.
kind of like this patriarch kind of guy, whatever. So when I was little, this is crazy, Russ. When I was little, he had this best friend, and it was this woman that lived she lived near us, and he was like teaching her how to be a rodeo, like teaching her how to like run a farm and be a rodeo person. And her name
Oh.
was Davida. And to be honest with you, we always growing up, we kind of thought she was super like a cowboy, like she was a woman, but she would dress like a man, really.
Right.
Honestly, I always grew up thinking it was like the first trans person I ever met.
Oh.
Yeah, because she really like looked like a man. Like I thought she was trying to be a man. We didn't really know, but her name was Davida. Okay. And she was always around when we were little. And I found out over quarantine because we brought up Davida in the stories, and I ended up having a glass or two of wine.
Whoopsie
And I
daisy.
started talking to my mom about Davida, and she's like, well, you know the truth about Davida, right?
Right. Yeah. See.
I'm
Always. No, I don't.
Well, I'm like, oh, that she was trans? And my mom's like, no. That, like, she was a woman. And then she goes, that, well, and my grandparents, by the way, my grandparents are happily married. They've been married forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. She goes, Davida was Papa's mistress.
Whoa.
And she lived on my grandparents' property, and my grandma made her a lunch every day. And
Sister wives.
Literally, well,
Equestrian sister wives.
so then I'm like, oh my God, Davida was a mistress the whole time. And then my mom goes, do you remember when you were little, you had that book? And I was like, wait, what book? Do you remember when we were little and they would make like personalized books that would be like, Russ, you might not have had this.
Yeah, no, I kind of
like,
remember.
Russ goes to town, and you could like plug in names, and it was like a gift.
Yeah.
I had a book called Davida, Papa, and Stewart Go to the Farm.
Uh-oh.
So I literally had a book about my grandpa and his mistress going to the farm with me
Oh.
when I was little.
Not even to the Cold Stone, just to the barn.
Not even to the Cold Stone, just to the barn. I found that out, and then my mom goes, yeah, and Davida wasn't the only one. Apparently, my grandpa had all these
A stable, if you will.
I mean, a
stable.
cowboy is a cowboy. You don't mess with a cowboy.
Here's the funniest. This is the funniest one.
Right.
She goes, well, this is a whole thing, but my grandpa also can't read.
Oh,
And
wow.
And
Well,
Drew-
you can read Braille, if you know what I mean. Zip
right,
it.
you can read
Right.
them tooties. Right. But Drew goes, what do you mean he can't read? Like, he can read. And then my whole family was like, no, like, what would he read? Like,
And I actually didn't have an answer. I was like, I don't know.
He
what
doesn't
would
read. But long story short, my mom goes, one of his mistresses, was this English teacher, that we hired, that Mama hired to teach him how to read. And we all know the ending to this one. He still can't read.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. Well, he
So they were just banging.
Wow, he used his pointer power, as we tell the kindergartners. He used his pointer
It's just
power.
like, after hearing that, it's like, pull your kids out of school, become a cowboy. What's the
Wow. Well, I have to tell you, Stewart, I could never have imagined that you would tell me about your horseshoe making grandpa.
I know. It's
Stable
Yeah,
of
crazy.
nothing.
one of which may or may have not been a dude who wrote a
right?
book.
She like looked like a dude. It was crazy. I fully thought she was trans, like fully.
No, and you were like, you know, first of all, give it up for Stewart for being an evolved person. She's like, yeah, I love Davida, they.
I was in
I
fifth
love
grade,
that.
like inclusivity.
Yeah, but you're like, nope, turns out Grandpa Steppener, while he was shoeing horses, you know, while he's putting fucking Jordans on Mr. Ed. And then, I mean, absolutely, you guys, I have to tell you, you guys have absolutely knocked it. We have had some really good say hi to your moms for me, but I would say that this one is like the Golden Globes awards favorite. It's got acts. It's got act 1, 2, and 3. Holy crap! I mean, drama, intrigue. Oh wow!
Horseshoes.
And also, again, yeah, no, the act again. I really do need to recreate the action sequence of Stewart with the. It's also the Wicked poster in the background while all this is happening.
Yeah.
I have to say that's what brings it up for me. Drew pretending to be dead and asleep. You dragged out in the name of Jesus by your ankles, but then also Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth just chilling, you know, defying gravity.
So it never gets old. That story never gets old.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, you have to give it up for Stewart and Drew on season 3, episode 3 of our first ever couples edition of Say Hi to Your Mom for Me on Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Give it up for Drewer. Thank you guys. You guys are the best.
Russ,
Words.
we love you, Russ. You're the king of Philadelphia, and
Thank you.
We got to do live shows again soon.
Oh, I hope so. In the year 2022, I can't wait to see you guys, and I will rule with an iron fist. Thank you for calling me the king of Philadelphia. We'll give it up one more time for Drewer, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's season 3, episode 3 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. And it is time for a special edition of Rustle Around the Interwebs, Graphics Explosions. And this time it is going to be an amazing special edition where I introduce you to one of my favorite comedians, one of his best and latest albums that he's released, his work in television, movies, animation, and he is also the host of one of my favorite podcasts. Right now, he is playing young Vince McMahon on NBC's Young Rock, and he is also the host of About Last Night podcast, one of my favorite podcasts of all time. Mr. Adam Ray is going to join us for part 1 of our pre-recorded awesome interview. And before that, I'm going to share one of my favorite clips from his latest album, Read the Room, and then we're going to pick up with our pre-recorded interview. So while I share the screen, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for a clip from Read the Room and then part 1 of our interview with Mr. Adam Ray from NBC's Young Rock, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I wanted to be in the NBA when I was a kid. My mom actually squashed that dream at 9. She's like, Adam, the NBA, but sweetheart, but there are no Jews in the NBA. Good luck with that, you dumb. Happy birthday, go to bed. Just a power slam of honesty at 9. I'd even at double digits already put a kibosh on the fantasy, which seemed fucked up from my perspective. And then I grow up and become an adult, and I'm like, oh, she was right. There are no Jews in the NBA. Bummer, but the harsh reality of the situation. You've never turned on any NBA game and seen Kevin Durant leafing through a Torah at halftime. No sweaty yarmulkes are flopping onto the court. No commentator during any NBA game has ever been like, Rosenbaum for 3! What a shot. Weinstein at the line for 2 free throws. You know how he loves those. Really take his time with this shot. Doesn't have to pay for it. I was good too, man. I probably peaked in the 6th grade. I had excellent court vision, a sweet jumper. was a little fatty, though. I was a little fat fuck. But I was quick fat, you know. Quick fat is a term that I came up with that basically explains why every 10, 20, 45 years there comes along a fat kid that just, you know, defies the laws of gravity. I was just as swift as all the skinny kids. I just smelled like Pop-Tarts and mac and cheese when I sweat, you know. My coach was like, "You're the most delicious defender of all time." He called me Krispy Kreme Abdul-Jabbar. That's not a healthy nickname. Here's a problem. NBA is my favorite sport, though. Man, they got so much extra stimulation. You know, they recognize you need more than just the game in front of you to keep you entertained. Kiss cam, that's one of the greatest forms of free entertainment this country has ever come up with. Are you kidding me? Like, there's something for everybody. They span the gamut. Every age range is covered. They'll start off slow with a couple in like their 80s or 90s, and as soon as they put them up on the Jumbotron, everyone just, you know, applauds, just like, "Holy shit, how did you, you know, get outside?" You know, and right, and then the old gal's like, "Give me a smooch," and he's like, "Who are you?" Like, and then they'll cut to a couple, you know, prepubescent, 7th, 8th grade, and this little too cool for school punk-ass kid isn't ready to show publicly the amount of affection he's got for the girl he brought, right? So he's just like, right? Yeah, real inappropriate. Then they'll cut away to a couple that has no business kissing whatsoever, and that's my favorite. Usually like a brother-sister combination. Yeah, and they can't defend themselves because they're muted on the Jumbotron, so they're just like, "Oh, no, we're related. We can't do this." And the whole stadium's like, "We don't give a shit. We paid for this incest. Act like you grew up together."
Adam, I fucking love that bit. It is absolutely amazing. The whole album, Read the Room, is amazing. So, first of all, Adam, thank you for joining us.
You got it, bud.
Appreciate it. Thank you for saying hello to me. Also, of course, you must address Cardboard Russ.
Cardboard Russ. I mean,
That's right.
Let's be honest. Getting your own shoe, cool. We get it, Shaq. Getting your own cereal, yeah. Fucking, you know, how many do you need, Julia White? Getting your own doll, you know? Hey, Macaulay, you know, you won the game of life, but your own cardboard cutout of yourself. 2 of them. You have one in street clothes and one in pregame festivities. Ready, Russ.
It was the only Phillies shirt I had at the time. Now, the thing is that I actually have a joke about Cardboard Russ, but I thought that Adam Ray, the only person that would appreciate it, would get it, because I was singing to myself on the way home when I'm driving home with him, you know, in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
You know, I strapped him in, you know, and I was thinking of the song to Darkwing Duck, you know, and I was like, "Cardboard Russ. Hey, everybody, let's try to be extra cautious. Cardboard Russ.
Oh
Let's
my
try
God.
not to get a paper cut. Cardboard Russ." Thank you.
That's really great. But I mean,
Thank
I hope the creators of Darkwing Duck are listening to this episode.
No. I turn off whatever that setting is on YouTube. I make sure I click does not contain copyrighted material. I changed just enough notes so that we're not in trouble.
So you don't have to pay for it. Let's, by the way, address the significance of a paper cut. Don't just sleep on that little stat.
No, absolutely. You could.
That is a game changer, day breaker.
That's right.
I mean,
Right.
it is a.
Day breaker.
I mean, the things. Look, I'm 38, and the things that are now, they're not. I wouldn't even call them ailments as much as like I have just these cuts on my finger.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Where did they
what?
happen?
Where?
When?
Like, you know, like not. I don't know what I picked up or what. Like slight. I also am getting really bad at opening things. Like I'm lazy. I'll just like a kid opening a present on Hanukkah morning, and look, some people right now are being like, "Whoa, he actively skipped over Christmas and inserted Hanukkah."
No, that's
This
right.
guy,
You know what show you're on, okay? Know your
yeah,
audience.
I know what show I'm on. I'm also like, look, Christmas gets all the glory. Hanukkah has never been in the driver's seat. We're always riding shotgun or in the back,
Be careful.
and so it's any chance we can get a little more exposure. Now, let me ask you this: if we could nominate one person to be not our Santa, but our mascot for the Hanukkah holiday, who would it be? Like if there was a guy, like the way that they made like Jason Alexander for a bit, the KFC guy.
That's
like
right.
who would be our guy
Seth Rogen. He'd be like, because other people could do him, they just sit on his lap and be like, yeah, you like pottery and weed, and then like I don't know, yeah, it feels like he feels like
He does feel like the guy. He's universally beloved too, so I think that makes sense.
Adam, I am so glad that you joined me
Thanks,
for
bud.
this interview, and I can't believe that we did it. I was like a clandestine reporter tracking you, like a reporter would track Muhammad Ali back in the day. Now, I have a bunch of questions.
Except for way less famous and way whiter and
Yeah,
way
no,
less
you're not. I mean, you're not a legend. Let's face it. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, no one's making
Well.
selections of you.
I mean,
Okay.
there are different varying degrees of legend. If you were to ask any of the Jews at Temple Beth Am, they would also say I'm not a legend, but they would say I did see him in that Sandra Bullock film.
That's
And
right.
by the way, the number one question that all the Temple Beth Am older Jewish gals would ask me when I got back from that was, "What does Sandra Bullock smell like?" And I was like, "That's what you want to know?"
Which candle at the Target is my Target candle?
It's the Bullock scent,
For Sandra Bullock. What's my Target Bullock candle?
Yeah. yeah.
No, listen, I have a bunch of questions I prepared for you.
Let's
and
do
I'm
it.
going to pepper them at you because I'm so excited that you joined me, and I can't believe it's happening. So, Adam, you are currently playing young Vince McMahon on NBC's Young Rock, which is
Right.
absolutely incredible. As a matter of fact, you're on my wall of fame over there with me
Whoa.
and Sandy, and you're right there with Roddy Piper, who used to hang out at the Comedy Store and do shows and tell stories. So
Whoa.
it's very funny that years later, that's sort of that you're playing this character, because all comics love wrestling and wrestlers. So my first question for you is, was it difficult, or how challenging was it to play somebody that we've all grown up watching?
Wow, coming right out of the gate, just hot, Katie Couric style, with 2 oven mitts on.
Larry King, I'm like your Jewish grandfather. What was it like?
I didn't realize maybe the pressure until. So The Rock called me himself to tell me I got the part. I got to go to the Chappelle camp in Ohio this summer for a weekend, and Jaleel White and I actually went, and he's real good buds with Chappelle, and I'm good buds with Chappelle's tour manager, and got to be a little chummier with Dave over that weekend, which was real cool. He's just real generous on all fronts, on and off the stage.
Wow.
And so I'm out there, and I had sent the audition in, and The Rock and I had been messaging ever since I posted this post about Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle.
Right,
And how
the
he shot his
Gwyneth
own.
Paltrow vagina candle tweet back. It was epic.
Yeah, and so he comments on it because I tagged him. I was like, you should have the ball equivalent or the male equivalent of the candle scent. It should be ball scented. He comments on it, follows me, which I had no clue. I don't know which happened first. I start getting all these DMs of like, how do you know The Rock? I'm like, everybody knows The Rock. What the fuck are you talking about? And then I look at the post and he comments. So I'm like, whoa. So I sent him a DM, no response. 5 months later, I get this 2 voice messages from him about 8 minutes long, apologizing for not responding, how much he loves my comedy. He's a fan. I hope I'm staying creative and all this. And I hope,
my God.
let's grab a glass of Terramana when life resumes. So I sent him my phone number. And again, no response. And now that was in May. No, that was in June. Now cut to end of July. I'm at the Chappelle camp. I sent my audition in. I sent him another message being like, I don't know if this came from you, but what a cool opportunity. The show looks incredible. Hope all's well, bud. I am at the Chappelle camp, leaving John Mayer had come in. Chappelle and John did this 2.5-hour show. We're going back to the after party. I get a text that says, hey, it's DJ, parentheses, The Rock. Hit me up. Let me know we can get on the horn tomorrow. And I'm like, and at this point, by the way, I've gone on Spade Show. I've gone on podcasts. I've joked about how The Rock is ghosting me, right?
Right.
So I'm just like, and people have my number, so I'm like, someone's fucking with me. I've joked about this being a thing. And I call back the next day, miss him, calls me back. I call him back Saturday morning, and he just picks up and goes, give me your best Vince McMahon impression. And I just go, you're fired. And he goes, congrats, brother, you got the part. And I was like, wow, man. And then we talked for about 30, 40 minutes just about life and comedy and wrestling and football. And dude, it was like like we've been friends for 30 years. It was crazy. And we've had several combos and texts and voice memos since then. And he's posted my stand-up on his IG, and he's, sent me a bucket load of Terramano when I got engaged. And he's just the shit, man. And
that's what I have in here right now. You know what I mean? So I'm not playing around. I know.
But so he goes, what was cool is he goes, I want to call you personally. He goes, they kept telling me I needed to tell you. And I was like, I want to tell him because I want to tell him how, special it is that you're portraying him for the first time. Like you're the first person to portray Vince on TV. And he's like, and that's a really cool thing. And then we just started talking about his impact on his life and all that. And that really added to it. So, and then, I really did my homework and, obviously in this first season, we just see him kind of peppered in the seasons to come is when you would really see Vince become a part of the show, because that's when he would become a part of Dwayne's wrestling career. And it was an integral part. He was a mentor and synonymous with everything that Dwayne accomplished. And so that's when I'll really have to probably shoot up, take all the roids, be putting creatine shakes through my cock.
That's when you're gonna do the strut. Yeah, we do that in Philly.
Oh, dude,
whenever
all that.
Talking about somebody, that's the GIF or whatever you see. And that's what I love about the show. I love that it switches timelines, and he's running for president, but then the flashbacks to his earlier life and the way that he saw his dad being a comic with a young son who has at least visited me at work once or twice. I always think of comedians like wrestlers because that's who I grew up. I mean, I loved Macho Man and Rowdy Roddy Piper. They were my favorites. They cracked me up. I thought they were the most entertaining thing in the world. And the showrunner of Young Rock also, she made the Bee in Apartment 23, which was so amazing, and Off the Boat and Always Be My Maybe. And she's so good at world building. So I'm excited that your character is being peppered in there, but that it's going to build and build and build, because who was more of a visionary of anybody than him? I mean, it went from Scorpion King to The Rock being almost like Santa, like we were talking about earlier. Like, you felt like you knew him. Everybody feels like they know The Rock. I mean, I know in our house, he's The Rock. Like, in this house, your story just absolutely delighted me. As a matter of fact, my second question for you was about, you shot the show in Australia, right? Sort of in a bubble during the pandemic, correct?
Yeah, so we had a quarantine, for 2 weeks in a hotel, and because things were so up in the air in the States, and Australia had their cases down because they had leadership. It wasn't better leadership, but it was just different. So they just had things under control, and they were able to shoot stuff right away. So a lot of stuff started filming there, and they were like, well, you can wait to see if things resume here, or you can go to Australia now. And so I think he and the rest of the team were like, let's go there now. And quarantining by yourself in a hotel is definitely, I don't recommend it for 2 weeks. I didn't think about jumping off the balcony every morning, but I'd say 2 to 3 times a week.
Well, they shot the Matrix there, so you'll just float to the next building, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It was definitely challenging, but just finding a routine helped. And a lot of YouTube rabbit holes, a lot of soldiers coming home early to surprise their kids at school.
Whoops.
and then a lot of porn, and then so it's just a lot of screaming and crying coming from my room, which was awkward for the Uber Eats guy because we were watching most of it on his phone. And
well, Craig works hard, you know what I mean?
Craig works hard, man. And he dropped off that salad, and I wanted him to get a little something extra. So I was like, hey, have you ever seen the babysitter stuff? And
you
so
could have just tipped him. There's a little button for it.
Well, I couldn't even open the door, really. I had to wait till when they set any food or drink outside the door. I had to wait and then open the door because I had 24-hour security on the floor to make sure I didn't leave.
Oh, you did?
And they don't fuck around. And then once I got out, dude, it was maskless living in Australia. I went to rugby games. I did almost 4 shows a night. I met up the comic community in Brisbane and did tons of shows and went jet skiing and it was awesome.
Now that's first of all, you put out a lot of content, but there's no out of range jet skiing. I feel like the world needs that more.
Well, I did one video of me jet skiing, but I did it with this Trump filter, and I was like, I'm in Mar-a-Lago, baby, at the lago. Just saw a dolphin. Was gonna grab its pussy, but I didn't have time.
I love your deep fakes. Holy shit, when you do that, it creeped me out at first because I didn't understand the technology. I was frightened. I thought it was like a face-off situation. I was like, did Adam get the surgery? Oh my God.
Did Adam get the surgery?
Yeah. And
He always joked about it, but did he finally do it?
No, so Adam, speaking of which, I do have a question for you because you actually, first of all that rock content is amazing. I did have a question, but you answered them. I was like, has he ever texted you to come over for coffee and cake? But you gave me so much better than that. Like, that's incredible. So my next question for you is the fact that you do a lot of voices in animation as well, including Ruben on Crossing Swords on Hulu, which is an amazing show. But in this house, you are a big star, because you play the flying, talking horse unicorn Swiftwind on Netflix's She-Ra, and we love that show. So my first question for you is, were you disappointed that they didn't ask you to play the Princess of Power?
Yes, thank you.
Right.
And I've been waiting for someone to ask me how I felt about that.
Girl.
I mean, look, Amy Carrero, who plays She-Ra, is wonderful, but
Right.
she doesn't have the deep voice that I do, and I think that could have brought a different dynamic to the character. But, you know, it is what it is. That's the business, baby. You know, as Sandy says, you got to fake it till you make it, baby.
Right. I just picture you getting the script, and you're like, wow, they are going a very different direction with this character. They're like, no, Adam, you're the horse. And you're like, yes, that tracks.
Well, I'm just glad they didn't, you know, they allowed me to explore and find the voice, because at first I definitely was coming in like, you know, like, hey, I'm Swiftwind. Like, hey, guys, you know, hey, you know, if you're looking for a good, you know, bagel sandwich, you know, there's a place called Antonio's on 44th. You know, that reminds me of a time. So Judith Light, I've known her for about 35 years, right? 40 if you count the show. And then they're like, whoa, hey, you know, that is one choice. And so
that's the way to go with it.
yeah. Less stanza, more horse.
Yeah, well, I remember when Rocco was and I were watching it, he was like, you know, we heard your first line is like, I named myself Swiftwind and something freedom. And Rocco turns to me and he goes, that voice doesn't sound anything like a unicorn's. Is that the joke? And I was like, nothing gets past this guy. Whoa, watch out for him. Rising up the ranks. Whoa.
That's so funny. Well, what now? Okay, well, if he's going to throw shade like that, I want to know, what was his suggestive voice?
No, he was just like sort of like, is this why it's funny? This is why it's funny, right? Because
for sure, but it sounds like he also, and I do, but look, I mean, this is why casting is so.
Anything though, he's like me. He's like, I could have done that.
Well, I love that, and that's again why I want to know: does he do voices? Did he have? What did he think a unicorn should be? Because you know, this you want to take this type of critique and use it for the next job.
Well, I guess he would say that it should definitely sound more like the YouTubers that he watches play video games. You know, like, whoa, oh, brah,
yeah,
oh, brah, man, brah. That's all they say is brah.
Those are the kids? Yeah. My niece
That's all they do is they play video games, and then my kid watches it, and then we buy T-shirts of it. Bruh!
Dude, did you ever think that was going to be like, that would make you dad of the year, was allowing your kid to watch another kid play? It's not even like, hey, I want to play games. I want to watch kids play games. Like, that's what's so crazy to me is I go, man, you don't even want to get the experience of the hand-eye coordination for yourself. You want to just watch someone else
No, he loves to play the games too, but I was told specifically
Oh,
that playing video games would ruin my life and make sure that I would never have a wife or a family or be a good father. And I feel like I've checked off a lot of those boxes. Plus, I have my own arcade here in the basement, as I was telling you before the show.
Wow,
I have virtual reality. I got the steering wheel. It's called a Thrustmaster T150. And I had to tell Dara, I was like, hey, Dara, listen, there's going to be a strange charge on your account. It's called a Thrustmaster. It's not an early gift for you. This is the Thrustmaster right here. What's got two thumbs and is Thrustmastering over here. This guy at 42. So I appreciate that he appreciates video games, but
yes, me
no,
too.
I could never have believed that would be a fucking thing that people do.
Yeah.
But yes, Swiftwind forever, and of
love
course, we absolutely love Swiftwind. If you have a Funko Pop made of yourself, make sure you sign it. So it's
Oh
here.
my God, yeah. I know there's Slimer ones. I've signed those. I just
I
signed
have a
few of those.
Slimer one. I have a Slimer one. You can't see it, but it's behind me.
Oh man, yeah. We'll
Leslie
Sharpie
Jones
that
and
up when I
Slimer.
come out there.
Yeah, no, I would love that. That would be incredible. We love the Funko Pops here at the Cooten House. Okay, so my next question is, and you let me know if we have to take a break, and then we're gonna come back. Okay.
Yeah, cool. I say let's
So-
do another 5, and then we'll figure that out. Cool.
Okay, cool. So, Adam, you have been in 3 movies with none other than the incredible Melissa McCarthy, directed by the genius Paul Feig, Spy, The Heat, and Ghostbusters. Okay, and we know that it is hard work and long hours to make a movie, but I guess my absolute question for you is, how fun is it to be on the set with 2 legends like that, you know?
The most fun. I mean,
Wow.
you don't want it to end. It's true. I mean, making a comedy movie, which is all I've gotten to do, is just the best. Especially those films were all such, you know, big comedies. So there's big budgets. The craft service was amazing. They were in Boston. We were doing Ghostbusters.
You think like there were snacks?
Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, I love that I went right there. Such a classic fat kid move. I was like, dude, the food was
the
great.
snacks, my
Like,
God.
what about the special effects? Yeah. But the lobster rolls, but they were great. All joking aside, but yeah, man, Paul Feig is the man. He, as much as I wanted more of my shit to stay in Ghostbusters, because you know we were that scene, that rock star scene with the first ghost attack and all that, and capture was like a week-long scene, and you know, I ended up blowing out my voice because I was singing for real, and then I come to find out they were going to just dub it over. And so, which I
Tom
blew.
Cruise is singing your shit, asshole.
Oh, yeah. They just used the soundtrack from Rockstar the Musical. And so he was like, yeah, you don't have to actually sing, but I'm up there. He gave me a bunch of lines, let me improv a lot. He had a cameo where he played like a record exec where I'm like, I want to give a shout out to the guys from Thunder Gun Records. I was like, would love to work with you guys sometimes. Sometime I would love to quit the coffee bean. But we do play bar mitzvahs. This ain't our only gig. And then they cut to Paul, and he's kind of like, all right. And they didn't end up using that. And then I had a thing where I was like, let me ask you, are you guys ready to rock this house? And then some guy goes, you suck. And I go, hell yeah, 2, 3, you know.
Yeah.
And there was just like a lot of that type of shit that didn't make it in the final cut. And Paul was so cool to hit me up and tell me that. He's like, man, there's just so many notes from every different direction. And there was, you know, how to get the ladies as much screen time as possible. But being there to make it, you know, look, you have no control out of that other stuff. So it's a good learning experience to just go soak up the time you're there as much as possible. Right. Have all the fun, be a pro, be easy to work with, you know, don't just be sitting around on your phone, like chum it up with as many people as possible. But it is, you know, a lot of sitting around but so cool. I mean, we're in the Wang Theater in Boston during that. Spy was in Budapest.
Yeah.
Only had a couple lines for that, but that was, again, Paul was like, you want to come out to Budapest for 3 weeks and hang out at the Four Seasons and go to dinner with me and Mike McDonald and he was getting fucked up with Allison Janney in the hotel lobby and Sam Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Statham. Yeah. Statham I met at Paul's holiday party on the way out.
Oh.
We were both pretty hammered, and we had some sort of an exchange where he was like, you're a lot taller than me. And I was like, yeah, but you're a lot better at just life than me. And he was like, you're not wrong there. And I was like, yeah. Anyway, man, you want a hug or something? And he was like, I'm all right. And I was like, yeah, me too. I was just joking.
You know, it's just jokes around here.
Yeah.
Don't ever come this close to me again.
Yeah, but he's a tiny little fella, man. He packs a lot of punch in that, but they definitely shoot him in the right angles. But yeah, man, it's the comedies. The Heat was the first one, and that was just not career changing, but confidence boosting in ways that you would like to feel, as far as going, all right, cool. All that work and mostly no's for, and just so many attempts and darts and everything. Yeah. And it's not
things at you, and you catching it and just sort of fucking elevating and just like, you know, catch and release. And I have to say, there's a rumored like 3 hour and 10-minute cut of Ghostbusters. So
wow.
I do.
There might be some more Slimer in there too, because there's some Slimer stuff too that was Paul was
Yeah.
even trying to write a Slimer origin story movie, and I was like, dude, come on, man, get that going, please.
Yeah, no. Well, one of Rocco's first experiences going to the movies, like with me and my younger brother, was going to see you in Ghostbusters. So
cool.
you delivered the goods. You had the wings, and then you were Slimer. So
Oh, yeah.
he had a slushie. I mean, it was like everything was cooking with gas. I actually am a huge fan of that movie and the comic books. There's comic book continuations of it.
Yeah.
And where
Did
they
you ever
cross
see?
over.
Did you ever see the Slimer audition tape that I made for that?
Yeah. Well, I saw the clip that you.
So that was because Paul, I was like, I asked Paul's assistant, I go, it's not like you're getting Morgan Freeman to be like, boo, I'm a ghost, you know? So I was like, there's got to be room for somebody not famous. And he was like, yeah, we're not even thinking about that yet. So I was like, I'm going to make this tape, send it to him. I go in to do ADR, I think, for my part, and I open the book and it says Slimer. And I was like, so he definitely like surprised me too. And man, it was cool.
It's the coolest. Who doesn't remember playing soccer and drinking Ecto-Cooler on the sideline?
Come on, man.
I know that was my shit, especially on Saturday, and Slimer had his own series. So, Adam, do you have to go take your call?
And then I'll come back on. I'll come back on this link in about 15 minutes. Cool?
Okay. Is that how it works? And I just stay here, right? Okay, cool.
You can, I think, yeah.
No. And I only have 3 more questions for you, and
Great.
you fucking delivered the goods. I love you.
I'll come on back, baby. All right?
Thank
All right,
you.
love you, bud.
All right. So, I would imagine that this is what we're going to call part 1 of Adam Ray's killer interview with amazing guest stars. I mean, who didn't guest star in that first segment? I mean, we had The Rock, we had Vince McMahon, we had Melissa McCarthy, Paul Feig, Jason Statham, Dave Chappelle, Jaleel White, which is huge. We made some jokes and stuff, so I'm gonna chill here for a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Give it up for Adam Ray in part 1 of his interview here on season 3, episode 3 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Stop Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, so Russell said it all at the end of that pre-record. We are going to play part 2 next week of Adam Ray's interview, where we're going to cover a lot of ground about his About Last Night podcast, and if he's ever intimidated doing a bit with a legend like Dana Carvey. We're going to talk to him about the time he opened for the New Kids on the Block on the New Kids on the Block cruise ship. And at the end, he and I are going to do a little game like he does on his podcast with impressions and do our own version of the Golden Globes Zoom call that was a complete shit show. I'll be doing Pacino and Sir Ian McKellen, amongst others, and he'll be doing Robert Downey Jr., Dr. Phil, and a few other great characters as well. So please join us next week when we play part 2 of Adam Ray's interview. And thank you so much for joining us this week on the episode. Let's also take a moment to give it up for our first ever couples edition of Say Hi to Your Mom For Me with Stewart Fullerton and Drew Drevyanko. They absolutely crushed it. And you can hear every episode of Philly Comedy Club and Last Stop Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for coming, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week for part 2 of Adam Ray's interview. And our special guest, I'm sorry, I forgot, Mark Gerber. We're going to finally get to do his interview about his album, Avid Endorsement. So it's going to be another mega episode. Give it up for yourselves. Give it up for me. Go Birds. Good night.
I used to go to see Mets games. It was the best. I'm over here now was the song I suggested. I'm over here now. But I'm finally successful. I got a lot. I got a bunch of chicken breasts, dude. You want me to cook them, fry them, glaze them, put it on your plate? You'll fucking feel amazing. You know.